Okay, dear students, we are about to start the next standard, which is SA 501. We had just finished SA 500, which is audit evidence. SA 501 is also dealing with audit evidence. In fact, SA 501 is continuation of SA 500. Now, what's the exact difference between 500 and 501? Both these essays are dealing with audit evidence. SA 501's name is audit evidence itself, but it is related to selected items. Audit evidence with respect to what item? Selected items. How many selected items? We mainly have 3 selected items in SA 501. Are we going to collect all the evidence with respect to these 3 selected items? Answer is no. Here we are going to collect audit evidence relating to these 3 selected items, only specific consideration. So, SA name itself says specific considerations for what? Selected item. We are in SA 501. Here we are going to collect sufficient and appropriate audit evidence with respect to selected items, specific considerations. To be more specific, we have 3 selected items, right? We have 3 selected items. What are they? The first selected item is inventory. Second one is litigation and claims. Inventory, you know. Litigation and claims means those pending cases which are pending. Finally, you have the segment reporting, which is nothing but your accounting standards. Now, these 3 are the selected items. In these 3 selected items, what consideration are you going to see? Or regarding these selected items, what audit evidence are you going to obtain? You are going to obtain audit evidence regarding inventories. Inventories, what? Existence. Whether such an inventory is in existence, and its condition. Whether the condition of inventory is proper. That is the specific consideration relating to the inventory. Second one is the litigation and claims, which is the selected item. What consideration are you going to see here? Here you are going to ascertain if the litigation and claims shown in the financial statements. You know, the litigation and claims will be shown in balance sheet, contingent liability as notes to accounts. It will be shown in balance sheet P&L as provisions if it is almost sure that case will be lost, or you will show it as notes to accounts disclosure as a contingent liability. It is a responsibility of management TCWG to show this either as provisions or disclosure in notes to accounts. As an auditor, our objective is to obtain evidence whether the litigation and claims as shown in financial statements are complete. So here your specific consideration is completeness of litigation and claims. Whether litigation and claims shown in the financial statements are complete, or any litigation and claims have been omitted or hidden by the management. Now, the next one is segment reporting. As per your accounting standards, Ind AS also, you have segment reporting, segment information to be presented. This presentation is as per the accounting standards. Generally, we can say it as per FRF, Financial Reporting Framework. Our objective as an auditor is to obtain evidence whether this segment reporting's presentation and disclosure are appropriate, or whether the presentation and disclosures are as per applicable FRF. To match this with the name of the essay, we said no, we have 3 selected items. What are those selected items? 1. Inventory, 2. Litigation and claim, 3. Segment reporting. These 3 are the selected item. In these 3 selected items, what consideration are you going to see? Or regarding what are you going to obtain audit evidence? We are going to obtain audit evidence regarding these 3 selected items specific consideration. The specific consideration is this: whether the inventory is in existence, and if so, its condition is proper. This is the specific consideration for inventory. With respect to litigation and claims, you are going to obtain evidence whether the litigation and claims as shown in financial statements are complete, whether any litigation and claims has been omitted. So this is the specific consideration with respect to litigation and claims. Finally, with respect to your segment reporting, what are we going to see? Whether the presentation and disclosure of segment reporting is in accordance with your accounting standards. One thing you should understand, in essays, they don't say specific AS or specific Ind AS. They generally say as per FRF. So this is the specific consideration with respect to the selected item of segment reporting. Clear? So now you yourself can tell me the objective of essay 501. Do you want to try? Come on. Objective of essay 501 is to, come on students, it is which series? 500 series. So your objective will start with a sentence. What? To obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence whether, or to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence regarding 3 things. 1, 2, 3. What? Existence and condition of dash regarding the inventory. Second, completeness of what? Regarding the litigation and claims. Finally, presentation and disclosure of what? Segment reporting. Very simple. This is nothing but essay 501's objective. And students, if you want me to link it with accounting standards, for every selected item, you have respective AS. Here you have AS2, which is your Ind AS 2 also relating to inventory. Regarding the litigation and claims, provisions, contingent liabilities, you have AS 29 as well as, come on, tell me the Ind AS. Ind AS 37. Regarding segment reporting, geographical segment, business segment, you have AS 17, Ind AS 108. That is only for your reference. One more link I can tell. With respect to inventory, some question in the examination comes with respect to inventory. You can also correlate with the CARO reporting requirements. There is a specific clause in CARO with reference to inventory. Clear? So, shall we go into detail of each selected item? The first selected item is what? Inventory, right? What is the specific consideration? Specific consideration is its existence and its condition. Existence of inventory as well as its conditions. Now, first and the thing which auditor has to see is whether the inventory is a material item in financial statements. Tell me, for every audit, for every entity, will inventory be a material item? Answer is no. Say for example, there is a service industry. For them inventory will not be there, or even if it is there, it will be immaterial. So the first condition which you have to see as an auditor is whether, the first point is, if inventory is a dash item in where? If inventory is a what item? Material item in financial statements, then auditor has to obtain, come on, obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence regarding its dash and dash. You can say regarding its existence and its conditions. Fine. Now, first point, we have seen whether the inventory is a material item in FS. Materiality, SA 320. After that, inventory, the primary responsibility of counting and valuing the inventory. The primary responsibility is with the management. They have to establish the procedures, right? So, the second point is, it is the responsibility of whom? Primary responsibility of management to dash and dash the inventory. Come on. To count and value the inventory. It's a responsibility of management to count and value the inventory, as well as to establish the dash. I used a word, to establish the procedures with respect to inventory. You know, the method, the work in progress, its percentage of completion, etc. Fine. Now, in the second point, here we said it's a responsibility of management. As an auditor, what should we do? Auditor should be an observer at physical counting of inventory. If you remember, in last essay 500, we had studied the procedures, techniques of obtaining audit evidence. 7 techniques are there: inquiry, observation, inspection, external confirmation, recalculation, reperformance, analytical procedure. In that, one of the technique is observation. By observing the counting of inventory, you will get evidence, no? So the next point, the third point is that with respect to the auditor, auditor should be an dash at dash dash of inventory. Guessing? Auditor should be an what? Correct. Auditor should be an observer at what? Physical counting of inventory. You should be an observer at the physical counting of inventory. Why? Mainly for 5 purposes. One is to observe. Basically, you can observe the inventory which has been counted. Second, to inspect. You can inspect. To perform test counts. Like you can see the sample, you can take a sample count, etc. To perform analytical procedure. Analytical procedure we will be studying in essay 520. You can compare the inventory of this entity with another entity, current year with the previous year. Likewise, to perform comparison, analysis. Finally, to evaluate the dash and dash of management. What? To evaluate the procedures and instructions of management. Here we said no, procedures management will establish, which we will evaluate. Management will establish the procedures, auditor will evaluate the same. Clear? So in this particular point, we said that as an auditor, we should be an observer at the physical counting of inventory. Now, this physical counting of inventory, it is usually done as on which date? The usual physical counting is done as on, okay, balance sheet date. It's not good to write as balance sheet date. We will write it as date of FS. Done as on the date of financial statements, balance sheet date itself. Say for example, 31st March 2021. Okay, this is your balance sheet date. You were not able to go as on this particular date. We went as on say 15th April 2021 after a period of 15 days because of some unforeseen circumstances. What circumstances? Unforeseen circumstances. We could not attend the inventory counting as on the date of FS. Then you will be performing on a date after or other than the date of FS. What you should do? These 15 days transactions, can't you adjust? What will you do? You know, these 15 days sales, purchases, sales you will add back, purchases you will reduce from this inventory, and you can back work, arrive at the inventory as on the balance sheet date, the date of FS. This 15 days, you know, that period, I'm calling it as intervening period. What period? Intervening period. So that is the fifth point. What was the fifth point? If it is conducted on a date other than dash date. What date? Date of FS. Okay. Other than the date of FS. Meaning could not do as on the date of FS. or unable to attend on date of FS due to, I used a term, no, some circumstances, due to unforeseen circumstances. Unforeseen circumstances. In such case, what will you do? I said no, we will back work, add the sales, reduce the purchases of that 15 days in our example. That 15 days we said no, intervening period. So, what shall we do? Perform. To add back, reduce, etc., you have to perform extra procedures. So, perform additional audit procedures for transactions during intervening period. And what? Arrive at inventory as on the date of FS. So 15th April, you will do all these additional procedure and finally you will arrive as on the inventory as on 31st March. Clear? So just note down that particular word, which is that intervening period. Now, this fifth point we said when we have conducted the observation on a date other than the date of FS, right? But because of some circumstances, unexpected events, it is impracticable to be an observer. It's not possible. In such case, can you give a qualified opinion saying that we cannot be observer? No. You should try to perform some other procedures, some other alternative. Still, if you are unable to obtain evidence, you will modify. Clear? So that is the next point. What was that? If it is impracticable to attend the inventory count, okay, impracticable, then what will you do? You will perform what procedures? You will perform alternative audit procedures. Why? To obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence regarding the inventory. See, we have tried to perform some other alternative procedure. Still, if you are unable to obtain, you can't give an unmodified opinion, no. So, add that. If unable to obtain sufficient and appropriate evidence, then auditor shall analyze its impact on his opinion as per SA 705. I will repeat. Auditor shall analyze its impact on his opinion as per SA 705. 705 is nothing but your modifications. Depending upon the materiality, pervasiveness, you will issue qualified adverse disclaimer, etc. Clear? So that is the sixth point, okay, which says what to do if it is impossible, impracticable to attend. Do you want an example? In case of, real estate contractors, real estate, their inventory will be the buildings which is unfinished, work in progress. As an auditor and our articles engagement team, can we go and look at the building and ascertain its value? No, it's not. It's impossible for us alone to do that. So in such cases where it is impracticable, what you do? You do some alternative audit procedure. In this particular case, you will obtain the valuer certificate. If you are unable to obtain valuer certificate, you can't give a clean opinion. You will give a modified opinion. Fine. Finally, the last point. This inventory which we are concerned now, this inventory is in custody of a third party or in control of a third party. You will obtain confirmation from him or perform other procedures like, obtaining report of another auditor, going there and physically inspecting the inventory, etc. So the final point is, if inventory, okay, is in dash of dash party, is in, actually two words are there, is in custody or control of third party, in such cases, auditor will first, and the primary thing is, request and obtain what? Confirmation from them, or he can perform other appropriate audit procedures. Other appropriate audit procedures, like say for example, attending, you can go there and inspect, inspection of records using other auditors report, etc. Some other appropriate procedures. So to sum up, these are the main points with respect to the selected item inventory to obtain evidence regarding its existence and condition. Clear? To wind up this particular, I will sum up the 7 points. The first and the foremost selected item was inventory. In that, we said auditor should be an observer at the physical counting of inventory, mainly for 5 purposes. You remember? To observe, inspect, perform test count, analytical procedure, as well as to evaluate the instructions and procedures of the management. Right? I just wanted to show you one more thing here. Okay. See, we'll come in our order. We said to inspect, then we said observe, then we said review the procedures, evaluate management instructions, and also to perform test counts, right? What procedures do we evaluate here? Kindly note this. We evaluate the nature of inventory, what type of inventory it is. Big manufacturing concerns will not only have one type of inventory, they will have lots of inventories, different varieties. So we have to see the nature of inventory. Stages of completion. Why? Inventory will also include the work in progress, no? So we have to see the percentage of completion. Then, any risk of material misstatement with respect to inventory. ROMM, Essay 315. Various controls related to inventories. Again, internal controls is with respect to Essay 315. Whether procedures has been established, timing of counting of inventory, whether perpetual inventory system is maintained, and the locations. Nothing but this is the expansion of that procedures of the management which they have established, which auditor should review. Clear? Rest of the things is same as we have discussed. I'll just run through. Physical inventory counting conducted other than the date of financial statements. We said no, whenever physical counting of inventory is conducted on a date other than the date of FS, you should perform additional procedures. Okay. So, auditor should perform additional audit procedures. In some cases, due to unforeseen circumstances, we are unable to attend the inventory, then also you should perform additional alternative procedures on what? The intervening transactions. In some case, inventory counting is impracticable. In such case, you should perform alternative procedures, and still you are unable to obtain even after performing alternative procedures. Come on, you are not able to obtain. Then use your weapon. What you will do? You will modify the opinion as per as say 705. Finally, we said no, if inventory is in custody of third party, you can request the confirmation essay 505, as well as you can use, we generalized and said you can use other appropriate, you remember, appropriate audit procedures like attending, obtaining another auditor's report, inspecting the documents maintained by third parties, etc. So we wrote this as 1 and this as 2. Clear? First one. Crush Limited is a dealer in fast moving consumer goods. The company has warehouses throughout the country where the stocks are stored. The auditor of the company normally conduct physical verification of stocks along with the management at the end of the financial year. However, auditor could not be physically present during the stock taking at two places on account of certain disturbances in the region. In the light of the above facts, A. How sufficient and appropriate audit evidence regarding the condition and existence of inventory may be obtained? B. How an auditor is supposed to deal when attendance at the physical inventory counting is impracticable? Very simple. Here, how auditor would obtain evidence? You should start off by saying auditor should be an observer at the physical counting of inventory for those 5 points: to inspect, to observe, perform test counts, analytical procedure, evaluate the managements. Remember two things: instructions and correct, instructions and procedures, etc. It is usually done as on the date of FS. Here I will write here. Yeah. It is done as on the date of financial statements. If it is conducted on a date other than the date of FS, other than date of FS, or due to unforeseen circumstances, you will perform additional audit procedures with respect to transaction in the intervening period. So these 3 points you will elaborate and write along with A. Am I clear? With respect to B, they ask you what to do if inventory counting is impracticable. In such case, where inventory counting is impracticable, auditor shall perform alternative audit procedures. Maybe you can give an example, like by using the work of an expert, auditor's expert, then essay 620. Even after performing alternative procedure, if unable to obtain, right, unable to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence, then he will modify the opinion as per essay 705. Nothing new is there, students. Come on, everything we have already covered, no? Just recollecting the points and giving you guidelines how to present yourself for the examination. Okay, so this is the answer for A part and this is the answer for B part. Clear? So, moving on to the next question. These two questions have been asked for two different examinations, but the answer will be more or less same. So I will show you the question and also guide you how to write the answer. You are the auditor of EC Communication Limited for the year 15-16. The inventory as at the end of the year 31st March 16 was 2.2 crores. Material essay 320. Due to unavoidable circumstances, you could not be present at the time of annual physical verification. Under the above circumstances, how would you ensure that the physical verification conducted by the management was in order? So here also you will write the same points as in the previous question A part. In that, one thing you should elaborate is, I said no, you should verify the procedures of the management with respect to nature of inventory, stages of completion percentage, risk of material misstatement, location, perpetual system, etc. This you should add along with that particular question because they specifically ask you. Didn't you notice in that question, students, once point? In that question, they specifically ask you, how would you ensure physical verification conducted by the management was in order? So you have to see all those points. Rest of the answer is same as the previous question. And I wanted you to write the answer for this particular question as a matter of practice. Okay. Moving on to the MCQ. Oh, it's a big question. We'll read, no worries. KGL Limited is in the business of manufacturing tiles and sanitary ware. The company has a large inventory every year. The annual turnover of the company is 3,000 crores. The company has 7 plants across India. The management of the company carries out physical verification of inventory every year at the time of reporting date, meaning date of financial statements. During the year ended 31st March 18, it was found by the management that inventory sheets of 31st March 17, we are in 31st March 2018, did not include 5 pages containing details of inventory worth 24.5 crores. Management has included this inventory in the valuation of inventory as on 31st March. Management also explained that, considering the size of the company, this may happen at times as the inventory is huge and lying at various locations. Moreover, the inventory is insignificant, this 24.5, if considered as a percentage of revenue or inventory. State how you will deal with this matter as the auditor in the accounts of the company towards substantive audit procedures and excluding the impact under IFC for the year 31st March 18. Before going on to the option, let us discuss and come to a conclusion, no? Then we'll go on to the options. See, the issue of leaving off 24.5 crores inventory has taken place on 31st March 17. Closing balance. Closing inventory of 31st March 2017. This inventory has been brought forward as the opening stock, opening balance of 31st March 18, meaning as on 1/4/2017. They, however, included this in the closing stock of the current year. But still, that misstatement is prevailing in the opening stock of the current year, no? Meaning 17/18's opening stock is misstated. I hope you agree with me, right? So what should we do? We have to ask the management even to restate. What? Restate the opening stock, which is the closing stock of 31st March 2017. If they don't restate, it shows that material misstatement exists. Hence, you will modify. So with this in mind, shall we read the options, students? First option. Since the matter is not relevant material to current period figures, no reporting. We said no, it impacts the opening stock. So it is very much relevant. So strike off. B. Management should restate the financials to adjust the error. It's right. Otherwise, auditor may modify the opinion on current year's FS considering the materiality. As per SA 320. Seems to be the correct answer, but wait, we'll read the other two. Considering the matter is not relevant material to current period figures, management may include a note. Again, it's saying the matter is irrelevant, like the option A. Strike off. D. Include an emphasis of matter para. Come on, no. As per SA 706, emphasis of matter paragraph is added only if there is no modification or if there are no material misstatement, auditor is additionally communicating what? A matter properly. What? Properly presented or disclosed in FS. Right? Here it is not properly presented. So just by adding a EOMP won't suffice. So the answer is B. We discussed, no? Management should restate as per the auditor's request. Otherwise, auditor may modify the opinion in accordance with SA 705. Whenever you write essays for the exam, the descriptive question, try to write essay name in quotes. Just for the presentation.
Logic, School of Management. It is simple logic.